Hey, I'm Thomas. I'm CEO co-founder of Adult Masters, and here today I'm sitting with Thomas Lavernhe from Facebook IQ, and we'll talk about inside the uncovered at Facebook IQ regarding the future of shopping. And the report we are specifically speaking about, it's called, can you tell it, Kai?
Yeah, it's called The Future of Shopping Has Come Early, Perspectives from the Industry.
Okay, so thank you, Clark, for being here with me today. And I think you can introduce yourself to the people who are watching, who you are, and what is it that you do at Facebook IQ.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up, Thomas. Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Lavernhe. I'm a global vertical insights marketing strategist at Facebook IQ. I know it's a bit of a mouthful of a title, but basically, if you're not familiar with Facebook IQ, essentially we are a platform that offers insight into the world of evolving consumer trends and behaviors that marketers need to be thinking about as they better prepare for their businesses in the future, and recommend new strategies of how they can capitalize on certain macro shifts in behavior and trends that we're identifying. So it's a free platform to use, so we publish insights and research that we identify across the globe. I focus specifically on industry insights or vertical insights. So I work on the retail, consumer packaged goods, and automotive industries, and really look at how consumer behavior is evolving within the context of those industries. So we'll conduct research to identify, what those behaviors are, and then we'll publish either articles, reports, videos, infographics, a lot of different formats to convey that information for marketers to absorb and really help set them up for success in the future and let them know sort of what the next frontier of insights and trends that they need to be aware of and thinking of.
Definitely. I was checking Facebook IQ ahead of our conversation, and I can tell it was very interesting actually, because there is a lot of variety in the content. It's not only reports in PDF, obviously there are a lot of reports in PDF, but there is much more. There's a lot of videos, also some digital tools so you can navigate to some insights and statistics. And I guess that most of the data comes from Facebook, but I noticed that some data is coming from other parties, right?
Yeah, that's right. We pull together and sort of aggregate a lot of data, a lot of information from various sources. So, we do have aggregated data from Facebook and Instagram, based on conversations and that sort of thing that we're able to analyze and turn into insights that we can publish on the platforms. We also commission our own studies with larger research vendors, so like Ipsos, GfK, Nielsen, those types of companies, to really understand and survey consumers based on specific topics or areas that we want to uncover more about. And then we also pull in third-party resources. So we have partnerships with Global Web Index, eMarketer, Mintel, Forrester, several different companies where we're able to leverage some of the great research that they do and use it to validate and really contextualize some of the information that we're seeing. So we have both the internal and the external kind of worlds bridged together. And another great source of information that I've really been focused on is one of the core flagship content series as a part of Facebook IQ is called Industry Perspectives, and it really focuses on qualitative insight from industry thought leaders, both internally at the company, so think like sales leadership at Facebook, and then we also interview external experts from companies that are really innovative or doing really interesting work, to really have and pair those together with the data, the quantitative data that we have for a really kind of well-rounded package around like how a topic or an industry might be changing and what those implications are, to really kind of understand the full 360 view of that evolution and then the foresight into where it might be heading in the future.
Interesting. So it's called Business Perspective?
Industry Perspectives.
Industry Perspective. Okay, I will make sure to check it out. It sounds interesting. So there's a lot of interview from you at Facebook, but also other people.
Yeah, and exactly the report that you referenced, that falls within the same category of this type of content. So the Future of Shopping report is an industry perspective. We did one on entertainment last year, and we're currently working on one that will be published in late June around the evolution of the customer experience. So focused on e-com and retail and CPG, but it's going to be like a new, package of insights and interviews that we're going to publish. So be on the lookout for that one too in the next month or so.
Sure. I will. It sounds interesting. Coming back to actually the report you were presenting at AdWorld conference this year, which is the future of shopping has come early. I think there was like a couple of insights that really caught my attention, and I want to speak about them with you so we can maybe elaborate on what they are and what they imply. And one of the first is that you mentioned about that now people don't find product, but it's more about product that finds people.
Yeah, I think that is a really interesting insight and something that we're really keeping a pulse on here at Facebook. At Facebook, we coined this type of phenomenon, discovery commerce. And I guess to give a little bit of context into what this sort of means is, if you think about online shopping, sort of historically, it's been very intent-based, very functional. You need to buy new paper towels. You might go to Amazon and like Google, or search what their offerings might be, compare based on price or, delivery time and that sort of thing. So it was very much the online shopping mindset was very, I need to buy something, I'm going to go search for it and then, purchase, get it delivered or go pick it up in store. And that was the way a lot of e-commerce platforms have operated and still do. And still, a way of shopping that exists. But then there's a shift now as we think about the growth in mobile, the growth of social media, and a lot of usage of that has really been accelerated in the pandemic is, through machine learning and data, there's really this phenomenon where you might go to a social media feed, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, and you might discover a product that's just inherently like natural, relevant to your feed, your interest, that you may not have known that you wanted or needed, but that, was available and sort of recommended within that sort of content ecosystem. And so you can buy directly through that channel very seamlessly, very quick to check out and that sort of thing. So that's sort of how discovery commerce is like this new mindset. It's sort of the shift away from going shopping to always shopping, because you have this sort of moment and opportunity that's very endemic and sort of natural to your everyday behavior through social media, through these types of platforms that allow you to discover and buy within an instant products or new brands that you might have never heard before, that you might not have been in the mindset of like, I need to shop for this specific item for this specific reason, but just happens to be like something that's there and relevant to you, and that's something that you really enjoy. So I think that's been a big phenomenon. We always ask people, if you've been on your Instagram feed and, bought something you didn't even know you knew because you just found it as you were scrolling, I think that's become more and more common in the way people go about online shopping than it had been several years ago.
Definitely. It definitely makes sense to me. You're scrolling your feed and you see something that attracts your attention, and then you might go on along the funnel and just maybe make the purchase. But I think also we can notice that obviously it depends on the vertical. I think not all the products will have so much potential maybe with product discovery. Or maybe they have actually with product discovery, but not the purchase action is not happening right away.
Yeah, there's definitely some nuances by category. If you think about like beauty and fashion and apparel, I think there's a lot of experimentation and a lot of interest in trying new brands or trying new products. So I think categories like that lend itself very well to like this type of phenomenon. And it's also typically smaller ticket items at the moment. That's not to say that it can't expand to luxury, even automotive. We're seeing some interesting, trends in Brazil. Like I was speaking to someone earlier where people are buying cars directly off WhatsApp, which is kind of an amazing phenomenon that you might never expect. But like, I think as people become more comfortable in online shopping and e-commerce, like the potential is definitely there to expand to, even high ticket, very expensive product categories. But I think also, too, if you think about, the nature of the pandemic and how it's shifted some everyday activities and behaviors with people being forced in their homes, more often, that, grocery, for example, whether it be food and beverage.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to pinpoint, actually. I think this change for higher ticket or for any actually, because it comes from the safety. First, it was safety. That was about safety, stay home, stay safe. And but now people are saying those changes in consumption are staying because people stay from convenience. Actually,
yeah, that was a big. So safety, I think, was the first reason why people shifted to online. But as people, especially older consumers who might be shopping online for the first time, in general or for specific categories, it really exposed them to the conveniences and the benefits that, digital and e-commerce could provide to them. And so I think that that's, obviously the question now, and a lot of people ask, is what behaviors that have changed in the pandemic might be long lasting after the pandemic sort of subsides and we go back to a state of normalcy. And I think that sort of change and that exposure to those types of benefits are going to retain and keep shoppers coming back to online shopping and e-commerce and digital discovery continuously, even after people return to physical stores and retail opens up back to normal capacity levels and that sort of thing. So I think that'll be a big sort of factor that'll continue to keep people shopping online for the long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we speak often that this change was brought by the people, but I think there's like a lot more at play, and I think actually we can say that marketers, they adapted to the new norm, because with restriction as non-essential shopping being closed down by regulation, it meant that some stores like furniture or other things, they had to adjust, they had to adapt. And how can you experience a product which is a physical product when you cannot actually go and touch it? And what we see in this report is that technology has been playing a major role in this area.
Yeah. I think like one of my most surprising and interesting insights to take away from the report is that sort of reversal in terms of the roles of in-store and e-commerce. So I think historically, if you think back before the pandemic, physical retail's real advantage was the experiential elements that it would offer. So being able to go in and try on a new outfit or touch a new, dresser or piece of furniture that you wanted to, purchase or were considering. And also new services like tailoring or, classes or community-oriented events were really kind of where physical retail thrived and had a clear differentiation from e-commerce. And e-commerce's benefits were very transactional in terms of efficient buying processes, easy to compare items. You can get like a lot of online deals and coupons to, get discounts on those types of platforms and really check out very quickly. And that sort of reversed when the pandemic, first hit, is where people weren't able to go into stores or out of safety, fearful of going into stores when it comes to those experiential elements. It really kind of forced physical retail locations to take a lot of those digital efficiencies and benefits and implemented them into the storefront. So if you think about the rise of things like contactless payments, self-checkout, those types of services that get people in and out of stores as quickly as possible. Also, click and collect or buy online, pick up in store was like a huge kind of, growing area that really kind of exploded with the pandemic as people would search and discover and buy directly online. And then for convenience, go into store and pick up their items to minimize that, amount of time that they're spending in store was something that really sort of grew exponentially during the pandemic and really physical retailers needed to adapt and accommodate for. And while that sort of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. We had experiential in-store, and now it's like transactional, and we had transactional e-commerce, and now it's experiential.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So really, that transactional element became a core focus of the in-store strategy, but that really left a core gap and opportunity for the experiential that consumers really still wanted, but weren't able to receive in the same way that they used to be in the past. And that's really where digital and e-commerce became the key method and source for experiential product offerings and demonstrations. So if you think about the ways people can experience products digitally, but still have that sort of real life experiential, feel to it. You think about the rise of AR and virtual reality. That became a really big kind of component and really kind of highly adopted format. Where we think about, going into, if you're thinking about changing the layout of your home or apartment, you had that ability to kind of see how a desk or a dresser might fit through augmented reality on your phone, and to see kind of like the layout in that sort of way that you don't have the physical nature of being able to experience in store, but could still have a simulated kind of experience to understand that. And the same could be said around live selling or live shopping, where people were able to actually, through live video feeds, demonstrate products very physically. So it's not yourself maybe testing out the product, but someone you trust from like a creator standpoint that's giving you authentic and very candid feedback on like the product usage and the demonstration to give you that sort of real life feel of like what it would like kind of look like or feel like if you were to receive that product. And I think that minimized a lot of the barrier and hesitation people had when it came to that online buying experience is through those more immersive technologies that had give them that physical, experiential taste without having to actually be there present in person to actually be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny to see what was actually before, like some years ago, could be seen as a gimmick. Let's say to have AR or VR, for a thing to sell. Now it's becoming more essential. And I think what is also nice about this technology is that, well, it's the beginning, so it can always get better, definitely, if we think about the visualization, the textures, etc. So consumer will definitely, I think, be using this even more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's become like, when it first came out, VR was incredibly expensive and it was like not very easy for people to, get their hands on. I think over the years, it's become much more accessible. And I think about ways people have integrated AR technologies or, within mobile sort of platforms and be able to like visualize things very seamlessly and very, experientially. I think that will kind of continue to grow and become more democratized and accessible for people to use whenever, they'd like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think, this is speaking about the statistic that we've seen all around, that people are saying that there was, with the pandemic and restrictions, there were a shift in consumer behavior, and some people say 10 years, some people say 5 years. I don't know what's the truth, but it surely accelerated adoption of technology, and it was I understood from the report that it was mainly driven by older generation, but actually any older generation also were more, let's say, keen on e-commerce.
Yeah, I think really the key, if you think of like an audience standpoint, the key growth was coming from older consumers who had been very routine in buying kind of habits before, where it was very in-store focused or oriented. And then when the pandemic hit, it was really kind of, whether they wanted to or not, were kind of a forcing function to have them adopt e-commerce practices, mobile purchasing, that sort of thing. So it was really an interesting learning curve and an interesting way of bringing in different audiences to the online shopping space. So, but now if you're, an e-commerce platform or retailer, whatever, it really needs to be thought of as, digital isn't just focused on your younger Gen Z or millennial buyers, but it's really a cross-universal, cross-generational phenomenon that's going to be here to stay, and that your audience will be sort of expecting moving forward to offer those seamless benefits of e-commerce in a way that is very inherent and intuitive to the way that they're shopping nowadays.
Yeah, and if you compare back to like 10 years, etc., I mean, marketers have no excuse. Now you can launch an e-commerce website like almost a click of a button. You have so many solutions right now. So it's really easy to start. I think when we think about Instagram or Facebook shopping, solution here.
Yeah, exactly. Like Facebook Shops was developed with kind of that intention. It's like a very easy, seamless way for you to have basically an e-commerce platform directly on your Facebook or Instagram, platforms, so people can buy and interact with you from a holistic standpoint, either to interact with your content or you as a brand from like a messaging standpoint, or buy directly from those platforms. So I think it's a great resource to get, especially small businesses that, hadn't been able to like set up an e-commerce shop, access to those for free and leverage that as a way to adapt to the new behaviors that we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about. I mean, bigger brands will actually adopt new technology and more expensive technology first, but now we see that it's democratizing e-commerce for small businesses as well. Okay, Carl. Well, I think our time is up. It was very a pleasure and very pleasant to speak with you. I learned more about the future of shopping and actually what you guys have been doing at Facebook IQ. I will make sure to check out this coming up report. What do you say it will be about? It's about UX or user experience?
Yeah, it's about customer experience. So we're looking into a few new areas as it relates to the future. We'll build on this discovery commerce phenomena and look at some future states of personalization and privacy, creators, and how they're factoring into the new customer experience. So it's going to have a lot of great new insights, global insights that will be published at the end of June, and you can find it on Facebook IQ for free.
Perfect. So, we also mentioned that everything on Facebook actually is for free and accessible. I'm so glad to have found this, and I will make sure to check again what you guys publish.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks so much, Thomas.
Well, it's nice having you here. Have a wonderful day, and maybe we meet again.
Yeah, likewise.
Take care.
Thank you.